It's 2 a.m. A man stands on a rain-slicked balcony, staring out at the harsh neon of the city. He flicks his lighter. He is completely exhausted, yet his body demands this ritual. He views this small, burning cylinder as the only thing holding his frayed nerves together. Beneath that exhaustion lies a paralyzing dread. He desperately wants to stop choking his lungs, but he is terrified. He imagines future dinners, stressful workdays, and social events, convinced that without a cigarette, none of these moments will ever be enjoyable again. If he attempts to quit using sheer willpower, he begins from a position of mourning. He tells himself he is making a monumental, agonizing sacrifice. By treating the cigarette as a precious reward that he is suddenly forbidden to have, his brain generates an intense, agonizing feeling of deprivation. Smokers spend their lives paying thousands of dollars to stay in a loop of panic and relief. They remain trapped because they are terrified of living without the very thing that is actively destroying them. This deep-seated fear is manufactured. From birth, our subconscious is bombarded with subtle messaging. Media, culture, and our surroundings consistently condition us to associate smoking with tough guy courage, stress relief, or sophisticated glamour. The tobacco industry engineered this illusion deliberately. Early campaigns aggressively utilized celebrity endorsements to frame chemical dependency as modern elegance. By presenting cigarettes as a calorie-free alternative to eating, advertisers weaponized the fear of weight gain to lock women into lifelong addiction. Alan Carr called this societal conditioning the big monster. It forces the smoker to invent desperate rationalizations to ignore the stained teeth, the chronic cough, and the financial drain for the sake of their next fix. To escape, you don't fight the physical cigarette. You shatter the belief that it offers you any value whatsoever. Once the psychological illusion of pleasure is gone, the desire to smoke vanishes. Watch what happens when a smoker takes a drag. They aren't inhaling relaxation. They are systematically pulling burning, poisonous chemicals straight into soft lung tissue. This feeds what Carr refers to as the little monster. This is the actual biological addiction to nicotine. The moment a cigarette is extinguished, the drug rapidly leaves the bloodstream, and the body immediately demands another dose. But here is the reality of quitting. The physical withdrawal from nicotine involves zero physical pain. It is incredibly subtle, a mild, empty, insecure sensation that feels almost identical to normal human hunger. This chart shows a non-smoker's flat baseline of comfort compared to a smoker's line that dips below the baseline during withdrawal and spikes briefly when lighting up. The satisfaction a smoker feels is completely backward. Lighting a cigarette to relieve that empty feeling is exactly like wearing a pair of agonizingly tight shoes all day, just to experience the temporary relief of taking them off. Over time, the body builds a tolerance to the drug. The cigarette no longer completely relieves the withdrawal pangs it created. Even while actively smoking, the addict remains more nervous and less relaxed than someone who has never touched tobacco. The cigarette doesn't cure stress, it causes the stress, initiates a chemical panic, and then tricks your brain into feeling grateful for the temporary, partial relief of the very agony it induced. If you pay strict attention to the physical sensation of inhaling, the reality becomes impossible to ignore. The smoke tastes foul, it coats the throat with tar, and induces a distinct, mild feeling of suffocation. Remember your very first cigarette. Your body instantly rejected the poison, forcing you to cough and feel nauseous. That severe physical reaction was your biological alarm system, proving that tobacco is inherently disgusting. The addiction works exactly like a carnivorous pitcher plant. The trap catches victims precisely because the bait is unpleasant. Because that first cigarette tastes so awful, the young brain assumes it could never possibly become hooked. Alan Carr was an accountant who chained 100 cigarettes a day until his health began to fail. When he finally decoded this mechanism, he sat down at his Underwood typewriter to map out an escape route that required zero willpower. The victim spends the rest of their life systematically training their mind to ignore their body's desperate warning signs. They pay a fortune to force foul smoke into their lungs, simply to achieve the baseline state of peace a non-smoker enjoys every single day. Back on the balcony, the man looks down at the glowing ember between his fingers. He sees it for what it truly is, a burning stick of poison and tar. The deep tension in his shoulders finally releases. He realizes there is absolutely nothing to give up. He recognizes that the crutch he leaned on was an illusion, offering zero genuine pleasure or relief. The mild physical craving he will feel over the next few days should be celebrated. It is the physical sensation of the chemical addiction, the little monster, starving to death. Every tiny pang is a sign of his body healing. He walks away from the sinking ship. He finishes the cigarette and steps away from the addiction with the definitive relief of a prisoner walking out of a cell. The heavy isolation of the night slowly lifts as morning arrives, washing over the city and the balcony. He presses the cherry into the ashtray. There is no frustration, no trembling hesitation, and no regret. Just a calm, definitive, and profound sense of peace. His perspective has permanently shifted. He looks at other smokers with profound pity, recognizing the invisible mechanism that still holds them hostage. As he takes his first breath of cold, unpolluted air, the anxiety at the back of his mind vanishes. His self-respect, his energy, and his courage begin to flood back in. The lifelong chain is broken. The trap is destroyed. And in its place is the absolute, quiet, and profound joy of a single, life-changing realization. Yippee! I am a non-smoker.